know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stay.
This is Wild About Liberty, where the community joins together. Now here's your host, Terry Wild.
Welcome to our program. We have a really special guest today that you're going to want to hear more about. And Brett Karraker.
How are we doing?
Welcome to our show. What a privilege to have you come on and tell us about what's going on with your family and the fact that you have a real history associated with Fresno County, and you're starting with your grandfather and then your dad and then what's going on recently. But tell us a little bit about the background.
Sure, yeah. Well, thanks for having me.
Sure.
Excited to be here. Again, my name's Brett Karraker. Our name has been in the Valley since my grandpa became a pastor at Northwest Church way back in the day. And he was big time. He was a big pastor here and influenced a lot of lives, impacted our community greatly. And so that's where it started. My early memories of him are very few. He passed away when I was 6 years old. But they were positive. I always remember going to their house, and they had a very much an open door policy of letting people in and hosting and just loving on people. I think the legacy starts with a guy who was well loved because he loved others well.
And it shows. I did some research before we did the show, and a big personality.
Big personality. Yeah, I left that part out. Huge personality.
Yeah. And the caring and the love that he showed, it was just all natural. And I just think that is really my ideal of what a pastor should be. Not that you can't be studious and formal and maybe that's your personality, but for me, that bigness and his just big arms putting around people and letting them know that Jesus loved them, that he loved them.
He certainly wasn't trying to put on a show or some sort of front. He was, what you saw was what you got. He was hard at times. He spoke truth, but truth out of love, not truth to condemn or think that he was better than anybody else, but spoke truth out of love for the other person.
Well, just before we came on the air, we had a short conversation with Ellen Autry, who's the former mayor of Fresno, and right away you could just see he beamed with his connection with your grandpa and then with your dad. So what an honor, I think, to have that heritage.
Yeah, what a neat opportunity to meet him, and as we prepare for this episode, to him share some stories about my grandpa and some of the legacy that's been passed on, and really cool. Well,
you've been appointed and nominated as a representative. Why don't you tell us the cancer connection between your dad, Rusty, who, again, somebody that really made an impact in the local community. People just love him to death. He's sort of an extension of your grandpa, I think. That's the way I kind of take it.
Yeah.
Had a lot of that personality. And then the cancer leukemia organization that you're with. Why don't you give us that background?
Yeah, so Buford had 6 kids, 3 boys and 3 girls. And probably the one who was most like him was my dad, Rusty. So Rusty was also a very big personality in this community and also in the Bay Area community. He moved away for a short time as he signed a quick contract, or what he used to call his quick cup of coffee with the San Francisco 49ers. He was a punter at Fresno State. And so my parents lived in Mountain View, California from 1983 to 2001 or 2002 when we moved back shortly after Buf passed away. And then he kind of just jumped right back into the community of Fresno and
now I hope he's not the one that missed the punt for the big game.
No.
Okay, somebody different.
Of course not.
Okay.
Yeah. But and so about 6 years ago, he was asked to be he was nominated to be it used to be called Man and Woman of the Year for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is it's a 10-week campaign of about 8 to 10 people, prominent individuals in the community, to fundraise money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And so 6 years ago when they asked him, he really wanted to, but because of his health and his own battle with cancer, he couldn't. But he said when he got healthy that he really wanted to. And so unfortunately that never happened. He passed away in September of 2022 of throat cancer. And so a couple months ago, one of the gals from the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society had reached out to me to have a cup of coffee. And so I agreed to meet her across the street over here at Cup of Joy. And she opened up with the story about asking my dad to do this years ago. And so very quickly it became apparent to me that this was God working in this specific opportunity to really honor my dad and his legacy, and also help a lot of the lives of those going through their own cancer journey. And so we're really excited. We're in the thick of it right now.
Well, how long did your dad go through that cancer situation?
Yeah, so he had 2015 is when he was first diagnosed with cancer. Yeah.
And, cancer is a monster. I mean, it's just an absolute monster. It's so destructive. It damages lives and families. And there's a lot of statistics on it, but the rate of cancer and the amount of effort that's being put into curing that has been very encouraging. And but if you're the victim, then you have to deal with it. So fighting cancer is just a matter of hard work and research. And tell us about the organization that you're representing.
Yeah,
and what they do. And
yeah, sure. So it's the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and what they do is they raise money for research and funds to support certain therapies that may help with patients. They also help with patient services and also educating patients and their families. There is, when you're going through this cancer journey, there's a lot you don't know about. A lot. I mean,
wow.
When you're told to go to the next clinical trial and find one, my mom would be up for hours just Googling clinical trials that my dad could be a part of to help extend his life. And so I have right here the actual mission of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And the mission of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is to cure leukemia, lymphoma, Hodgkin's disease, and myeloma, and improve the quality of life of patients and their families. And so they focus on...
And they're doing these three. These are the three main focus that they have.
Their three pillars are research, patient support, and advocacy. And so I did my due diligence before jumping right into... initially when I had the conversation with them, because my dad had wanted to do it, I knew it was a good opportunity. But I also wanted to do my research on the LLS because, let's face it, there's a lot of nonprofits out there that are not great or not doing what they're saying they're doing with the money that's being raised. And so 82 cents of every dollar raised goes towards research and funds. The other 18 cents goes towards the salaries and the fundraising. And that's pretty incredible.
Look at the board and the board of directors and then the administrators. It's the who's who of financial integrity and management. Sachs, for example, and the Sachs family and their whole background. So we're talking about incredible integrity in this organization.
Yeah, I think they had like a 94% rating of their organization, and so that's important for people to know that, because oftentimes people will donate and won't know where their money's going towards, but 82 cents on the dollar is going towards good stuff within the LLS.
Well, there's a lot of families. My family was touched by cancer, and people we loved died of cancer. My brother died of a type of cancer, and so we want to help. People want to do something and make a contribution and do a corporate sponsorship So how do they do that? How do you get them to know about this, and then how do they respond? You have a website, I know.
Mm-hmm. I want to backtrack really quick on a comment that you just mentioned.
Sure.
The LLS, and I have this in my letter that we sent out, that our family sent out to a long list of people, and this is really important because the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society doesn't just help those with leukemia and lymphoma, but many of the LLS supported therapies not only help blood cancer patients, but they have also led to a tremendous number of advances in many other types of cancers, including bone, brain, and breast. And so when you're donating to this cause, it's not just helping leukemia and lymphoma, it is helping cancer of all sorts. And so that is another reason I feel, and my family feels, deeply connected, because it's personal. It's personal because my dad was asked to do this, and we get to do it in honor of him, but it's also personal because it gets to help all cancer types.
Is your grandma still alive?
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
So your mom and your family. So tell us how the family's involved. Who's involved, and
Sure.
what does the mix look like?
Yeah, so I've got my mom, and she's amazing. My dad was a very loud, big personality, and she's the complete opposite. And so it was very important for her to be on board, and our whole family to be on board before taking this, because I know I'm listed as the candidate for this, but it is really on behalf of our whole family. And so
Sure.
She is extremely patient and kind and sweet and
Nice.
unbelievably smart. She used to be a software engineer back in the day in
Oh,
Cupertino at HP. And so she now works at the Well Community Church, and she's just the best.
Interesting.
And then I've got 2 older brothers, Mitch. Mitch, who is the head baseball coach at Fresno City College.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's legit.
Man.
And he coached at Oregon. He played at University of Oregon for quite a while, coached there for, 9 years, and then went to Baylor in Waco, Texas, coached there for a couple years, in LMU, and now we got him back home. So
how cool that is. Well, Javier, you met earlier.
Yeah.
He's an avid baseball player.
Yeah, we were sharing stories.
They threw me off the church league. They kept telling me that I was center field. Said, back up. I don't know. I'm good.
Yeah.
And we lost the championship because they hit it over my head. That was the end of my career with baseball.
Yeah, that'll end it.
But I told them, I said, look, I could do better. And they said, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll just let it go.
It's a good game. And anyways, then I got my brother Jack.
Yeah.
There's Mitch, and then there's Jack. And he is an assistant baseball coach at Fresno State.
Really?
So we're a big baseball family. Yeah.
How cool.
We're going to go watch the Dogs tonight play Air Force. So they're rolling right now.
All right.
And then there's me. And then there's my younger sister, Katie, who's 18 months younger than me. And she's a stud, too, because she grew up with 3 older brothers.
Oh, boy.
So
Yeah.
not much phases her. Yeah. So that is our family. That is who's on board. And Mitch's wife, Kelly. And then my wife, Savannah, and Katie's husband, JD. So we've probably got 20 people on our family. Half of that is family.
Well, we live in the Central Valley. There are a lot of people involved in the agricultural situation. We have a lot of corporate people. You work for a big corporate entity. And so they're really the target supporters that need to be involved in making a donation. But then the individuals, how does that work? How does just the average person who wants to make a contribution, what do they do?
Sure, yeah, there's a few ways. So in my personal opinion, I think the easiest way is through our website.
Yeah.
But I'm on the younger side of things and probably more techie than most. And that's really simple. It's teamrussman.org.
Let's spell that out for people.
Yeah, so team and then RUSSMAN.org, teamrussman.org. And that'll take you directly to the website. It shows you our letter and the reason why we're doing this. And then there's a simple donate button there. The other way to donate is you can write a personal check, and you can send that in the mail to, do you want me to read the address for that?
Why don't you do that?
You can send a check to 1947 North Marion, M as in Mary, Arion as in Nancy Avenue, Clovis, California 93619. With that, please make sure to make checks payable to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and then put my name, Brett Karraker, BrettKarraker, in the memo section. And so those are really the two main ways to donate. You can also reach out to me personally. My number is 559-307-5819. You can contact me and I'll help you out. Something I also do want people to know is a lot of, like my company, for example, they will match. And so you can...
Whoa.
Yeah, that's big. So if you put in a donation up to a certain amount, so if you put in a donation for $100, a lot of companies have an option to where they'll match it. And so
that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And so if you go to the website, there's ways to check that if your company is part of that.
Well, you are so connected to the ministry side of things, and your life has kind of evolved out of your grandpa and ministry. Your dad was just an incredible, talented guy, and so where do you fit into the mix there? Ever think about the ministry? Was that ever something you wanted to do?
Yeah. So, man, it seems like big shoes to fill to follow in the footsteps of my grandpa and my dad. But I remember having conversations with my dad, and he felt the same way about, filling his dad's shoes. And so, I'm involved in youth is a huge part of my testimony. I came to Christ at youth group in high school at the Well, and so that is how me and my wife, we like to serve, and we've been part of youth since we've been married. And so it's really cool right now because she's got freshman girls at the Well Community Church, and I've got freshman boys. And so we get the opportunity to serve together on Wednesday nights over there at the church. And so,
well, tell us about the church. What is the Wells?
So the Well is a Christian church. I'm not quite sure what they're. I don't know if they're. I think they're non-denominational. I don't know.
Right.
But
yeah.
And our family's been long part of that church. Brad Bell, the head pastor there, is amazing. His teaching's incredible. He is straight out of the Word, and
sweet.
There's been a lady who uploaded all of my Papa Buf, is what we call him, his podcast, or her sermons on podcast, which is really cool because.
Oh yeah.
I was too young to listen to any of them or don't remember. And so you can go on Apple Podcasts or wherever and listen to his sermons. And so it's really cool for me to hear him. And it's cool because when I go to Sundays and listen to Brad, there's a lot of parallels in their teaching. And so Brad worked under my grandpa for a short while. And then I believe the Well started in 2001 or early 2000s. And my mom works there. She is the HR director over there.
Really?
My sister worked there for a little bit. We're all serving in some capacity there. So it's really fun to be able to go to church with your family and serve together. And, you were always running into one another over there.
Well, to me, I'm just sort of thinking, God uses us in different ways, but there's a preparation time. And there's a time when we're doing non-direct ministry stuff and kind of being prepared in that way. But ministry is just an extension of who you are. I mean, you're called to something. You don't just go try to be a pastor or whatever. It needs to be birthed out of God's call for you and what He plans for your life. And it's, to me, being raised in such a family, being that connected with dynamic people, it's almost natural you'd want to follow in some way. And so what you're doing now, tell us a little bit about your life and career and what you do, family life.
Yeah, I think you bring up an interesting point, too. When we grow up, I was fortunate to grow up in a Christian household. But you'll still walk your own path along the way, and there comes a time when you got to make your faith your own and not just your parents', right? And so there were certainly times where I strayed away and was maybe clinging to my parents' faith and never really had my own personal relationship with Christ. And that wasn't until high school when I was deeply convicted and since then been running hard for the Lord. But that's my story as far as coming to faith. My own personal story in life, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, okay. So was born in the Bay Area, Mountain View, California, El Camino Hospital.
Know it well.
Yep, yeah, you do.
I lived in Los Gatos for many years.
That's right. Yeah, my dad worked in Campbell and my mom worked in Cupertino. So lived in Mountain View, and we moved back here in 2001 or 2, shortly after my grandpa had passed away. And, it was different. It was very different because we had our community there, and we went to a Christian school and then went into public school when we got here, and it's just different, you know. And so
it's a culture shock.
It's a culture shock.
It's a culture shock.
Yeah, but quickly got connected, and we're a big sports family, and so we all grew up playing football, basketball, baseball, and my sister grew up cheerleading, and so I went to Dry Creek Elementary, and then I went to Alta Sierra, and then I went to Buchanan High School, and loved my time at Buchanan. Was involved in leadership and FCA, and played football and baseball there, and then afterwards I went to Arizona State. I don't really know why I went there. I had a couple friends going there. I wasn't going to play sports or anything, but had visited. But my 2 older brothers went to University of Oregon, so I was kind of between the two.
Well, you're acclimated to the heat, though.
Oh, my
You
goodness.
could handle it.
It's brutal.
Oh,
my first year there,
man.
yeah, my first year there, I had no air conditioning in my truck, and so, yeah, you learn how to adapt quickly. Everybody says, "Oh, it's a dry heat," but it's still 117 degrees outside.
Oh, my
I don't
gosh.
care what kind of heat it is; it's hot.
Well, I was visiting, and I said, well, I'm going to walk down to the store. They said, well, you better take some water. I said, what? Oh, yeah, take some water.
Yeah.
I said, I don't need to take water. It's like 2 blocks away, long blocks.
Yeah.
And halfway there, I thought, oh, I wish I had some water. It was brutal, 117 in that range.
Yeah, it's brutal. But I loved the area and had a great time there. I majored in kinesiology, and so always.
What is that?
That's it's like I wanted to become a physical therapist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I've always been fascinated with anatomy and physiology and the human body, and so anyways, I graduated. I spent 3 years there, and I had an opportunity actually to come back home during my junior year and work in medical sales. And so I started working in medical sales while finishing up at Arizona State via online. And so that was kind of my intro into the real world, and a real job was, I was doing trauma surgeries and total joints, hips and knees, and it's a pretty cool industry, but it's demanding for sure. And so I did that for about 3 years, and then connected with an old friend at church who asked if I was looking for a job, and at the time I was, and got into packaging sales, which is a random industry. It's not something you grow up saying, I want to be in packaging sales.
I don't think so.
Yeah, and so what that means is it's here in the Central Valley. I work for a company called Veritiv. We're a big company. We've got a lot of capabilities, and so it was diving into it. It was very new to me, and what that is here. It looks different we've got 120 locations in the U.S., so our Bay Area team looks a lot different than our Fresno team. Bay Area is a lot of tech packaging, what you're buying an iPhone in, and here it's primarily ag, so your boxes, your bags, your clamshells. So I've been doing that for almost 6 years now. I really enjoy it.
And you have a territory?
One of the best parts about this job is we do have a territory as far as we have warehouses of where our fleet of trucks will go to before we go to the next warehouse. So it's pretty much Bakersfield to Modesto, but we are not territorial reps. So
you can sell anywhere.
You can sell anywhere because we can service them out of if a customer, for example, I have a customer that has a location here and they've got a location in Adel, Georgia, and so we can service them here in Fresno out of this warehouse, service them in Adel, Georgia out of our, I think it's Norcross, Georgia warehouse. And so and I work with an incredible team of people, all godly men. You know,
Sweet.
It's
That
a
is
pretty,
nice.
which is rare in a sales job. It's pretty cutthroat, but these guys care about each other more than, you know, they care about the money that's going into their
That
own
is
wallet.
so
It's,
cool.
yeah, I would say it's what's kept me here. As times have gotten hard, it's because it's not an easy. It's a relatively older industry, and so, you know, you're competing with guys who have been doing this job for 30, 40 years, and you're dealing with, you know, the farm folks who have, you know, been doing how they've been doing it for 34 years, and so we're seeing a wave as the farming is passing. These pack houses are kind of passing it on to the next generation, and so I'm excited for that because I'm in it for the long haul, and as these guys pass it down to the next generation, you know, I'm part of this next generation of the packaging industry too.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
29 years old.
Yep.
That's a nice age. You're starting a family. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I've got my wife Savannah, who's awesome. I've known her since 7th grade. She was
Really?
one of my sisters.
Oh man, that is so cool.
Yeah, one of my sister's best friends, and her brother has been one of my best friends for a long time. And so growing up, she was always kind of like a sister to me. And then, you know, I would, just rile on her and, you know, mess with her. And
nice.
And then, you know, once we got older and into college, the lenses, you know, they changed a little bit. And so it's been awesome because we've known each other for so long. And she's one of the most supportive, caring, genuine people you will ever meet. And so she's awesome. And then we've got 2 girls. So we've got a 3-year-old next week, Tatum. We got a 1.5-year-old, Addison.
Oh my gosh.
And then we've got another kid coming in August.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you know what it's?
We don't know what it is.
No?
Yeah. We're gonna wait to find out. Yeah. So.
Well, that is amazing. You've got your hands full, and work, home, wife, children, and those 2 ages. But what a precious time.
It is.
What a precious time.
Yeah, you got to remind yourself, and especially in this stage, as it's pretty chaotic, to just take it in, because you know everyone. I'm fortunate to have a lot of wise counsel and mentors around me who pour into me, and one of the things, you know, they say is, you know, take it in because it goes by quick, you know, and so I think we do a pretty good job of being very intentional with our girls and spending time with them, and they've also got incredible cousins, and we've got our family's very close on my in-laws side and my side, and so
nice.
There's a lot of cousins running around.
Well, you know, the whole idea of first of all, I think they chose outstanding. I think you've got a lot of talent and a lot of heart, and you can do this job really well. So you're on somewhat of a deadline. You've got short window, $500,000, and then you get a special recognition if you raise $100,000. How does that work? What's that about?
Yeah, so this campaign started March 7th, and it ends May 17th. So at the end of all this, there's a grand finale at Table Mountain Casino where they announce the winner and tell everyone how much money was raised between all the candidates.
Do people buy tables for that, if someone was watching?
Yeah, if you'd like to buy a table, it's an incredible event. There's about 800 to 1,000 very influential, prominent leaders in the community that attend. So it's good networking, it's good exposure, it's good wisdom in that room, and so I'm really excited to go to it because I've never been to it. But you can buy a table of 10 for $3,500.
Okay.
So if you would like more information on that, again, give me a call, 559-307-5819, or you can.
Can you buy individually?
That's a good question. I don't think so, not that I know of, but.
So you just get a bunch of people and make up the tables.
Yeah, I don't think they sell them by individual seats, and so, if we raise dollar goal of $100,000 by May 17th, so then they'll link my dad's name to a research grant in honor of him, and so that's pretty cool. You know, there's quite a few incentives in this whole program to make it motivating to go out and raise money.
Well, it isn't about the money. Really, the money is necessary. Without that money, people are just going to languish, and the problem is going to get bigger. But there's been a history. I was involved with cancer group in the Bay Area, in the Los Gatos area, and they also did a lot of great work and research. And there's dedicated people, really committed to helping solve this thing and help people. And look at the alternative. If we don't raise money, and if we don't do this research, and if we don't come up with these ways to help people, they're just going to suffer horribly.
Yeah.
So the money is important, and that goal is to me, I think $500,000 in this area should happen.
Yeah,
I think
I'm with
that
you.
can
I
happen.
agree. I agree. Yeah.
And it just takes people, you can write it off. It's a tax write-off. And
Yep.
if you're a company, even if you're just a small company, you can make a donation. You can make a difference, and fight back. And let's do something about this scourge, this cancer, that just wreaks havoc on everything it touches. I mean, our family. My brother, once they diagnosed him and he had stage 4, he knew he wasn't going to pull out, and so he had a year to prepare, and we all went through that time together.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And so it's not impossible, even unlikely, that they can't find a way to help people that had my brother's type of cancer, and they're trying to do that. So it's really something that people need to want to help out in doing. And so you've been chosen, your family's working on it, and so why don't you just take a minute and appeal to people and ask them.
Yeah, I think just my own personal story with the cancer journey is a lot of people are affected by cancer and know people who've had cancer, but if you're not in it, when I first heard my dad was diagnosed with cancer, I was in Arizona, and I remember just thinking, okay, it's not that big of a deal. You go get your treatment, it goes away. You get your chemo, and it goes away, and you're good to go. I had no idea the journey we were on, and so it is undoubtedly, the hardest thing I think anybody can go through. Our family, experienced a lot of hardships, but also experience a lot of beauty in the hardships. I mean, I say that my dad has always been a leader. He's been influential in the community. He's loved people well. He takes up his cross daily. But his ministry never took off more than while he was in his cancer journey. His voice is just, they say that pain is a microphone. One of this pastor that I love, Levi Lusko, he says pain is a microphone, and that people tune in more. Like when you hear a World War II vet come and talk about their experiences, or someone at Auschwitz talk about their experience, you're tuning in, you're hearing what they're saying. And so I think when someone is experiencing pain or going through hardships, that they tune in more. And so what an opportunity to be a blessing and to share the love of God and all the good that's happening in the midst of all this. And so I think as we continue this campaign, and I guess to appeal to people, I think your money does count and your efforts count, and it could be through monetary donations, it could be through corporate sponsorships, it could be through we may do a few silent auction events. And so if you if you know how to put flowers together and can donate flowers, or my buddy just opened up a bagel shop, and if he may send some bagels for some third party, we're going to put on some third party events. And so there's other ways to contribute than just money. And so
you could have an office pool.
Yeah, there's many ways to get creative. And so you make a difference. If you don't think you do, you absolutely make a difference with every donation. I mean, it counts and it matters. and we've had the honor of being able to hear a couple stories from our honored heroes here in the Central Valley of kids who have been diagnosed with leukemia and lymphoma, and you hear these stories and you hear the resilience and the fight that these kids have going through this battle, and a lot of it has been because societies like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society really help in these situations. And so, they're only able to do what they're able to do because of you. And so,
exactly.
know that you're making a difference above anything else. You're making a difference.
Well, when I was introduced to you and we got to meet, and I understood, what you're doing, that was my motivation. I thought, I just haven't had the occasion, I haven't had the opportunity to focus on helping people with cancer. But what my brother went through, and we're a big family, we all, grieved over that, and he was a hero. He went, trusting Jesus all the way. But I realized this is a time to do something and a time to try and make out. So it really is a team effort. You started a team.
Yeah.
I want to be on that team. I can't,
Come on.
daily, but I want to help get the word out. I want to help promote the occasion. And it's an opportunity, I think, if you're watching today and you're listening to us on KXCX, then we're asking you to be part of that team and do something. It doesn't have to be really big, but it can be something, and make some contribution and try and get the word out to other people. We're going to be sending out a lot of material. We're going to be sending out links about where to go to get more information, and how to contact Brett and go on his website. And we're going to be asking you to forward that to your contacts and get the word out. So if we act as a team, if you would help and be part of this team, let's take the challenge. $500,000. That's our goal. That's our objective. And so I can't do it all. You can't do it all. But as a team, and if we work together, just help by getting the word out. Help by sending people to Brett and his team's website and cut a check. Doesn't have to be $10,000. It can be, $100. It could be $50.
It could be $500,000.
It could be $500,000. Yeah, some people
you can write a check.
Do
go
that.
For it. Yeah.
So this is a team effort, and we I'm just proud to be involved in your leadership, and seeing a young man that has stepped up to do this, and with your background, we can do it. We want $500,000. We need that money. The researchers need that money. And again, this organization is sterling.
Yeah, they're legit.
It is sterling. I've checked it out. You should check it out too if you're interested. But they have the strongest management team and leadership team I've ever seen.
Yeah, they do good work.
Stunning.
Yeah.
So we're secure in that way. We know we're not at any risk whatsoever of this not being a legit thing. And so we need people on board, and we need you on board.
Yeah, and I would just add to Terry's comment that as you reach out to your network, just know it's going to be uncomfortable, right? I'm in sales. I've been doing it for a long time. It's still uncomfortable every day to make a call and ask people for money, and but I would encourage you to step out in faith and make the call and see how God works, and just your courage to step out and reach out to someone. And maybe, by reaching out to someone, you're really impacting them on the other side too. Maybe they have their own story that you don't even know about, and God wants to 10x that opportunity. And so I would encourage you to know that it's going to be uncomfortable, but try and get comfortable with being uncomfortable, is what we say in our world, because God can work in mysterious ways and make this thing go. And so let's make it happen.
And I've spent 50 years walking with the Lord, I've seen a lot of things happen. I've seen miracles. I've seen healing. I've seen a lot of things take place. But he made us and made this world, this natural world we live in, on purpose. This is the environment he put us in. This is our place. And as Christians, we're also human. And we live in a natural world. We have to deal with, getting up every day, going to work, putting gas in the car, all of the normal things. So we live in a natural environment. But we have this component to our lives, this spiritual dimension that comes alive when we become a Christian and accept Christ. And dealing with the natural world is an opportunity, I think. Just in doing these normal things and raising this money and helping with cancer, that opens up doors for you to let out Jesus to people.
Oh yeah, expand your ministry.
And contacts. And I'm thinking of the people that I'm going to be calling on. I have a list, and I'm going to be talking to them. And I know some of them have had cancer problems in their families.
Yeah.
And so it is a way to reach this goal. It's going to help people. That $500,000 is going to, what was the percentage that goes directly into
82 cents on the dollar.
82 cents on the dollar. People are going to be working hard with that money. I mean, they're going to be spending that money very strategically. And again, if you look at the management of this organization, this Leukemia, LLS,
Leukemia and Lymphoma,
then this is money well spent. So we're just closing out the program. We're so grateful that you're watching us and you're listening to us on KXEX. We've got a minute and 47 seconds. Brett, why don't you close this out and just have a direct contact and conversation with the listeners?
Well, if you're on or listening, I just want to say thank you for having me, Terry. Thank you for having me on the show, and really just hearing me out. We're excited, like I mentioned, to embark on this campaign with our family, and just really remembering the why in this whole thing. And it's not for publicity. It's not about the crazy goal amount. It's about honoring my dad for my own personal reason. You may have your own personal reason, but also to help cure cancer and help and advocate for patients all around the world. And so we appreciate your support. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And thank you.
Yeah, give them the website one more time. You probably have to spell it.
Yep. Team Russman, RUSSMAN.org. TeamRussman.org. Or you can reach out to me personally. Again, my number is 559-307-5819.
Well, thank you, Brett. What an honor, and I'm so glad to be working with you on this project, to be a small part, and we're going to do everything we can to get the word out. We're on the team, and we're looking for more people to be on the team. Wild About Liberty really has to do with the fact that we live in America, we have freedom, we have liberty, but who's the liberator? Jesus Christ is the liberator. He came to liberate us from our own sins, and so we're here to help our neighbor.
That's right.
And that's what this is all about. Thank you for being on the program. Thank you for tuning in to Wild About Liberty. God bless you.
Work for all my life, and I had to stop.